get my back blown out in peace. You think I got time to talk about a divorce that's a year old?
When the news first broke, people didn't want to believe it. The idea that Aaron would slide into his ex's DMs while still being with Teyana felt like the kind of betrayal nobody could have imagined. At first, it sounded like just another baseless rumor floating around the blogs. Celebrity gossip spreads every single day, and most of it fades away before it even catches fire. But this story didn't just disappear. Once the screenshots started making the rounds online, everything changed in an instant. What had once looked like a private exchange between two people suddenly turned into a public bombshell that flipped their entire relationship upside down. Fans couldn't stop talking. The internet couldn't let it go. And for Teyana, this wasn't just about gossip, headlines, or fans making memes. This was personal, raw, and humiliating. Because here's the thing, Teyana has never been the type of woman to let disrespect slide. She has fought her way through heartbreaks, betrayals, and messy situations that most people wouldn't even survive. She has had to rebuild herself more than once, and every time she came out stronger. Just when it looked like she had finally found peace with Aaron, he went and did the one thing that cut her the deepest. He reached back into the past and dragged his ex right into their present. That wound wasn't just about the act of messaging. It was about reopening a chapter that she believed was already closed. To really understand the fallout, you have to rewind a little. On the outside, Teyana and Aaron looked untouchable. They had the image of one of those celebrity couples who seemed to have it all: love, chemistry, style, and a future that looked solid. Whenever they appeared on red carpets, posed for magazine spreads, or even got caught in casual paparazzi shots, fans looked at them and thought, now that's relationship goals. They looked synced, like two people moving on the same wavelength, like they truly understood each other in a way others could only dream of. Aaron wasn't just another rising Hollywood star. He was the man people believed had stepped into Teyana's life at the perfect time, showing her the love and care she deserved after years of hardship. And let's not forget, Teyana had already weathered storms most people couldn't handle. The ending of her marriage to Iman Shumpert had been public, painful, and messy in ways that people still whisper about to this day. She had to rebuild herself after that breakup, emotionally and publicly. So, when she connected with Aaron, fans felt protective of her. It was as if the world collectively decided she finally deserved her fresh start. People rooted for them. They wanted this to be her happy ending. But if you've followed Teyana for years, you know she has a unique way of letting fans peek into her life without ever giving away the whole picture. She's mastered the balance, sharing just enough to keep people interested, but never so much that she loses control of her own narrative. Still, over time, little cracks began to show. They weren't obvious, but they were there. Aaron started missing events he was supposed to attend with her. Major milestones came and went where Teyana showed up alone, and fans noticed instantly. Then there were her captions, cryptic words about trust, loyalty, and not entertaining clowns. She never named names, but she didn't have to. Those posts sparked conversations and speculation that maybe things weren't as picture perfect as they seemed. And then came the DM, the one move that shattered everything. According to the story, Aaron reached out to his ex, not for business, not for closure, but in a way that felt far too familiar. Screenshots appeared online showing him sending late-night messages that no man in a committed relationship should be sending. Maybe the words weren't explicit, maybe they weren't scandalous in the obvious sense, but they were suggestive. And sometimes suggestive is worse because it reveals intent. Fans zoomed in like detectives, analyzing every emoji, every timestamp, every subtle phrase. Some tried to argue that it was innocent. Others said the very act of messaging an ex in private was already crossing the line. And once that conversation spilled into the public, it stopped being about the messages themselves, it became about respect. For Teyana, it was nothing less than a slap in the face. Here was a woman who had poured her trust, her time, and her love into someone, only to discover that he was still entertaining ghosts from his past. And when you're a woman like Teyana, someone who has built herself up, raised her kids, fought for her career, and demanded her worth, betrayal cuts differently. Insiders claim that when she found out, she lost it. Not in the exaggerated way tabloids love to paint, but in a raw, human way. She reportedly confronted Aaron head-on, demanding answers, demanding honesty, and demanding to know why he would throw away her trust for a moment of weakness. And let's be clear, Teyana is not the type of woman to play second place in anyone's life. She's not the type to sit quietly while her man entertains other women, let alone an ex. That history only made the wound deeper. To her, those DMs weren't just harmless words on a screen. They were betrayal. They were him creating space for someone who had no business being in their present. The moment the story hit the blogs, social media exploded. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, it was everywhere. Hashtags trended with both of their names. Fans argued endlessly about whether this spelled the end of their relationship. People who had once called them couple goals were now questioning everything. Was Aaron always like this? Had he been unfaithful in the past? Did Teyana ignore red flags? Speculation spread faster than wildfire, and then, in the middle of the chaos, Teyana made one move that spoke louder than any statement. She unfollowed Aaron on social media. For celebrities, that's never just a click of a button, it's a statement. For fans watching closely, it was confirmation that things were far from okay. Shortly after, she posted what many are calling a cryptic but powerful message on her Instagram story: "Respect is everything. Once it's gone, there's nothing left to hold on to." Simple words, but layered with meaning. Fans immediately tied it back to Aaron, interpreting it as her subtle way of speaking her truth without handing the blogs too much to feast on. Meanwhile, Aaron stayed silent. For days, he said nothing, no denial, no apology, no explanation. That silence only made things worse. Fans began to see it as an admission of guilt. Because if he really had nothing to hide, why not clear the air? Why not defend himself and his relationship? Some insiders close to Aaron tried to downplay the DMs, claiming the situation wasn't what people thought, that it wasn't serious, that the ex was blowing things out of proportion. But by then, the damage was already done. For Teyana, this wasn't just about being upset, it was about being humiliated. She had to watch her name trend for all the wrong reasons, her private life dissected, her relationship pulled apart in front of the entire world. The media ran wild with the story. Gossip blogs dragged Aaron, labeling him just another man who couldn't handle being with a strong woman without seeking validation elsewhere. Entertainment outlets compared his actions to other celebrity scandals, from Tristan Thompson's endless betrayals to the countless famous men who couldn't seem to stay loyal. Fans, on the other hand, rallied behind Teyana. They called her a queen. They told her she deserved better. They reminded her of her strength, her independence, and her worth. Many begged her to walk away from Aaron altogether, saying she should never tolerate disrespect, especially after everything she's already been through. Behind closed doors, sources claimed things got even uglier. Reports surfaced of explosive confrontations between the two. Heated words, accusations, tears, the kind of fight that leaves scars whether or not you try to patch things up later. Some even claim Teyana told Aaron point blank that she couldn't do this anymore. But here's where it got complicated. As angry and hurt as she was, she didn't make a public announcement. She didn't go on a rant. She didn't drag Aaron online. Instead, she did what she's always done best: she let her silence speak for her. And in that silence, fans were left to wonder, was she done with him for good? Or was this just another storm they might eventually move past? Insiders whispered that Aaron, despite staying quiet in public, was scrambling behind the scenes. He was reportedly doing everything he could to win her back, trying to convince her that the DMs weren't as bad as they looked, that his intentions were being misinterpreted. But the problem is, once trust is broken, can it ever really be repaired? That's the question haunting not just their relationship, but everyone watching from the outside. Now, the world is watching their every move. Every time Teyana shows up to an event, every caption she posts, every song lyric she shares, fans are analyzing it for clues. Is she single? Is she giving Aaron another chance? Or is she plotting her next chapter without him? And maybe that's the most painful part of it all. What started as a private mistake, a message sent in a moment of weakness, has now become a public scandal with millions of opinions attached. In Hollywood, once the public turns against you, it's nearly impossible to come back unscathed. So the real question now isn't just about the DMs, it's about what comes next. Will Teyana forgive Aaron and try to rebuild what they had? Or will she walk away, reminding the world that no man, no matter how charming, is worth losing her self-respect? One thing is certain, Teyana Taylor is not the type of woman to stay quiet forever. When she finally chooses to speak her truth about Aaron, it won't be subtle. It will be a storm, the kind that clears the air but leaves nothing the same. Aaron's DM might have seemed harmless to him, just a message he thought wouldn't matter. But to Teyana, it was something much deeper. It was betrayal. It was disrespect. It was the sign of a crack in the trust they had built together. And that's something no screenshot can ever erase. So, what do you think? Was it just an innocent mistake? Or was it the red flag that will end their love story for good? Should Teyana give him another chance? Or should she walk away before the damage cuts even deeper?